I would agree to that.
Okay. Be careful, this thing's pretty sensitive.
What I hear.
You ready, Mr. Silver?
I had a homeless person hit me with a board today.
Did you really?
Yesterday, yeah.
Did you take him into custody?
My brother did.
It's pretty bad if you can't remember which day it was.
Well, he got hit in the head with a board.
Yeah. That's a protected class. I just want to remind you, Karen.
Oh my God. Or me. Check. All right, we're gonna open this meeting. To the budget committee meeting for 2022, 23, 24. And we're gonna put an hour and a half time limit on this. We get to that hour and a half and we decide if you're going or we want to put that off for the next scheduled meeting. See where we're at. I don't think we're gonna need it, but you never. So I'm gonna turn it over to our budget officer.
Are we gonna do it?
Oh, yes, do an invitation.
Our Father, we thank you, first of all, for the privilege to serve, for the privilege to be a blessing to our community here in Estacada. We also want to thank you for protecting and protecting all of our firefighters and EMTs and all those who serve. We ask that you be with us tonight as we make financial decisions. Know that this is a very important responsibility. We're responsible for donated dollars and for the taxpayers' dollars. We ask that you give everybody your thoughts, and your spirit, your care in all the decisions that are being made tonight. In the name of Jesus.
Thanks, Luke. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we are gonna go through the proposed budget. And I will go through it line by line. If you have any questions, I'll pause for questions. Feel free to wave me down or make eye contact if I'm moving over something too quickly. There is a PowerPoint presentation up on the screen for some of the writing that's might be kind of extra small in the book. Might be better to see on the screen up here. The first couple tabs of your book here, we have our introduction, we have a review of the previous year. And then we also have our goals, objectives, and our budget message for the fiscal year. If we all right with me moving through that and going directly into the budget items? Yes.
So on the summary, personnel summary,
Yes.
so if you go down 2023-24, page 0, deputy fireman.
Correct. The fire marshal, we can just go through the pages and I'll explain. On the personal summary, under tab 1, under chief officers, you'll see fire chief, deputy chief, fire marshal, and training chief. The fire marshal position takes the place of the deputy fire marshal. That's a,
We're not eliminating Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah, you're being fired.
Sarah might-
Okay.
That's the only reason why we.
Find out this.
That's the only reason why I asked you to be here.
Watching out for it, that's what I heard. All right, good.
Yeah,
Never mind.
So the bottom of this page, you'll see our total FTE being proposed for the year is 14.86. The next page is our budget summary, a review of the past year. Some of our funding opportunities from the years before and large purchases. The next page is our division goals and objectives. We have division goals and objectives for operations, personnel services, training, logistics, and EMS. Get into the history of the fire district behind that. This hasn't needed anything updated since 2021. I believe we've made all of our corrections that were requested. And then we get into our budget message for the year. Tab 2 takes us to the general fund revenue and resources. Let me know if I'm moving too quickly here. In the first page, you'll find information from Clackamas County regarding our assessed value. Behind that, you'll see our calculation sheet, which you should all have seen. We came in and sat with the chief and I. And then we get into the actual proposed numbers, which I will begin reading and going through.
Nikki, before, let's go back to the history. It shows the first station located on southeast and southeast north. That's supposed to be broad.
We talked about it either being third, maybe, or second.
Between second and third on South Front.
Okay. Okay, I didn't catch that being Broadway. I thought it was,
What year is it?
The first station there, okay, gotta go back to the page.
1906.
Yeah,
That's the one that burnt down, isn't it?
I don't know if they burned it down or tore it down. I think they tore it down after they come into the main city hall.
Broadway and Fourth or Broadway and Third?
Huh?
Fourth or Third?
Between second and third, it's set in the IGA or Thriftway's parking lot. Right at the bottom of the hill, it's set there.
but Broadway between second and third. Get that updated.
I wasn't living then, but that's what I remember that.
Your driver's license around.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So we ready to move forward? Yes,
I have a question.
yes.
Can you explain to the group, what we have in our reserves, I guess, and how we got to those numbers? We carried over like $1 million last year, or it looks like we're gonna carry over 600,000.
Correct.
So there's a decrease, but when we did the restart, was there some capital that we had existing that went into that million?
There were multiple reserve accounts that were liquidated and combined to create one reserve account. And then with the funds that we brought into that fiscal year, we were able to add an additional set of funds, which would have been $1 million.
So combined, it was.
Yes, yes,
So we
combined.
didn't
We didn't
save
put,
$1,000,000, 2,000.
correct.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember,
I-
we had the money that was initially liquidated from the capital reserve accounts to carry us through till taxes came in, and then we did have savings in that
Right.
year, but we didn't actually save $1.5 million, because a certain amount of that was
Right.
already savings, right? Prepaid.
So we started, and we'll get, it's on the third page of the allocated forms here, but we started in 2020, 2021 with 20,000 in the reserve fund. And then 21, 22, there was 474,200 in the reserve fund. And then 22, 23 year, there was 5.
Thank you.
I don't know if I answered your question.
You did.
Yes, absolutely,
I just wanted to see how.
correct. Okay, so we are on the general fund resource description page. We're moving into this fiscal year with net working capital on an accrual rate basis of 3,663,436. Our previous levy taxes estimated to be received are 30,000. Interest is 20,000. Other resources for miscellaneous revenue, we're at 75,000. Grants, 137,668. Sale of capital assets, 1,000. Our total resources, except taxes to be levied, is 3,927,104. Taxes estimated to be received, 4,032,678, making our total resources for the fiscal year 7,959,782. Of those funds we have allocated to regular, yep,
So Chief, that new grant we got doesn't fall into here yet. It doesn't add to this 137,000.
No.
The new grant.
Yeah, no, not yet.
Okay.
regular personal services, 2,802,644. That's a full-time equivalent of 14.86. Regular materials and services items, 987,000 even. Capital outlay items, 243,000 even, making our total activity 4,032,644. Our future capital expenses is at 2,151,138. Our operating contingency is 300,000. Our unappropriated ending balance is 2,451,138. Total requirements not allocated is 1.4 million. Ending balance prior years, 3,663,436, making the total requirements 3,851,138. To talk about our reserve future capital expenses, that's an increase of 638,321. That's a 17% increase from last year's reserve. That's a total of $1,676,938 increased in the past 2 fiscal years, or a 254% growth in 2 fiscal years in our reserve funds. The following tab is for materials and services. The first page of the tab will explain any large items or significant changes. The following page will be the budgeted numbers. I will read through those. Behind that page, you have supporting materials. You have one that's a bar graph comparing the past 3 fiscal years, and you have one that is a variance chart difference from last year to this year. If you like pictures like I do. Going through materials and services. If everyone is ready. Election expenses is budgeted for $0 this year. Office supplies, equipment, and postage, 17,000. Insurance for property and auto, 55,000. Professional fees, 185,000. Apparatus and equipment maintenance, 84,000. Gas, fuels, and lubricants, 48,000. Radio equipment and maintenance, 4,000. Building grounds, maintenance and supplies, 55,000. Utilities, electric, water, sewage, garbage, etc., 50,000. Training, tuition, instructors, travel, 50,000. Dispatch services, radio system, C800, 131,000. Subscriptions, dues, annual fees, 14,000. Medical supplies, 50,000. General operating expenses, 4,000. Training supplies and maintenance, $0. Personal protective equipment, 55,000. Fire prevention / public education, 15,000. Support services, equipment and supplies, 5,000. Firefighting equipment and maintenance, 42,000. Furniture replacement, 6,000. Volunteer recognition awards and banquet, 25,000. Uniforms, 40,000. Health, wellness, and safety programs, 2,000. Information systems, 50,000. Wildland and EMS grant funding, $0. Total requirements for materials and services, 987,000. Overall, the proposed materials and services budget represents 9% decrease from the previous year. It's 24% of our annual resources, 12% of our total resources, and a 9% decrease. Sorry, I wrote that twice.
I have one question. So the insurance, property and auto, went up 38%. Is that the big driver of that, the 3 new apparatuses we got?
The big driver of that is what is being proposed to us by our insurance agents at their jump in rate increases. And then also new apparatus.
Yeah.
But the majority is that they're proposing like a 7 to 15% increase, property and auto. Not
I'm gonna help pay for the floods down.
my favorite. I'll give you a moment to review the next couple of pages if you want.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The CPI was estimated at 6.5 per last year, so why are we choosing 5?
The collective bargaining agreement is at 5%.
Okay, so it can't go.
It's in the union contract maximum of 5,
Okay,
and then there's always a minimum.
Minimum 3, maximum of 5. We, we did the CBA just before all that took off, so we came out ahead on that one.
thank you.
All right, so jumping into personal services. 4. Total personal services is proposed at 2,802,644, which is 69% of the annual resources or 35% of the total resources. It is a 9.14% increase from the previous fiscal year. Fire chief salaries, here we are. Fire chief, 148,050. Deputy chief, 126,787. Fire marshal, 119,152. Training chief, 0.56 FTE, 63,160. Lieutenants for 339,475. Firefighter paramedics for 3, 286,771. Firefighter EMT for 3, $262,096. Seasonal firefighter EMTs 0.33 FTE 44,000. Administrative assistant 46,116. Finance officer 68,896. Overtime 100,000. Conflagration 50,000. Retirement PERS 302,782. Workers' compensation 64,850. FICA, Medicare and Social Security 118,142. TriMet tax 12,494. LoSAP volunteer retirement 96,000. Life insurance AD&D 3,908. Medical, dental, vision insurance 334,519. Medical expense reimbursement program 70,000. Post-employment health plan 17,300. Deferred comp match 11,900. Physical exams and employee assistance $0. Unemployment insurance, 31,246. Background checks, $0. Student firefighter program stipend, 58,000. Duty officer stipend, 27,000. Total full-time equivalent, 14.86. Total requirements, again, 2,802,644. Yes.
Post-employment health plan, is that for people like their seasonal help or part-time help that then no longer work like the summertime or whatever?
No, so the post-employment health plan is for after you retire.
Oh, retirement. Okay.
Yeah, so health insurance or health savings for after you retire.
Thank you. So was our seasonal firefighter, that was a grant, right? The 44,000.
Correct. So, and the grant is available again this year, so we'll submit for it.
I did put in for that, but at the time we were writing it, that wasn't available and they said it wasn't gonna be. And then if we were finishing this up, it became available. So it's there, whether we end up using it or not, is another story.
Is it like a maybe we'll get it, maybe we won't, or we have a pretty good chance?
I mean, it's always a maybe, maybe not, but yeah, we'll see.
behind the bar graph and the variance sheet, you have the WHA insurance annual budget forecast. This has property liability, workers' compensation and employee benefits. It's an overview of percentage increases and a lot of where my data came from. We've been included in here.
So the increase. The firefighter EMT3 and the, let's see, the paramedic. We got 25% and 23% increase. That is just wage only.
That's their wages. As set by their bargaining agreement.
Yeah.
And it's, we have one firefighter at step 1 who will promote step 2,
Okay.
and all the others are at step 3, promoting to step 3 this year. So that's accounts for the high dollar.
When we did the CBA, you remember, right, we were behind in the market, and rather than do that all up front, we did it over the course of the contract instead, so that's why you're seeing a bigger jump
Okay.
on the firefighters year in, year two.
So there won't be, next year, there won't be as big a jump then.
I'd have to look back, I'd like to think it's 5%, but.
Yeah, because
back on it. But,
when you see 25 and 23, we went down that road years ago. That didn't end too
Right.
well.
but that's how we did the CBA, you know,
Yeah.
so it was to, instead of taking one big hit up front, to spread that out, so there's a way we have that this year.
So that 23%, 25%. That isn't divided by 3, that's each individual. There's 3
25%.
paramedics,
If it would be individual.
individual 28% each, 25%.
Correct. That also includes their COLA increase,
Yeah. Oh,
their step increase,
step increase.
and then
Yeah.
accounting for their bargaining agreement,
So
which I can't change.
is that collective bargaining agreement, like, so it's a 5-year agreement?
Three.
It's what?
Yeah, we got one more, it's our last year, 3-year agreement, so we'll be back at the table again this next January-ish.
And the bargaining agreement goes from fiscal year, right, July to June.
Right, yeah, we were off because obviously we didn't start into that till following November of the restart.
Right.
It took place, or started in December, January. So this one looks a little wonky because of that offset, but this next go around would be fiscal year this year.
We're ready to move to the next tab. Tab 5 is our capital outlay proposed budget. The total capital outlay is proposed at $243,000, which is 6% of the annual resources or 3% of the total resources. It's a 26% decrease from the previous fiscal year. The proposed numbers are Oregon seismic retrofit, $0. Defibrillators, $0. Lucas CPR grant funded $0. Gas monitors, $0. Mobile data computers, $0. Fire equipment, $0. Training equipment, $10,000. Station improvements, $33,000. Firefighting equipment, $60,000. Physical fitness equipment, $0. Staff vehicle, $90,000. Radios MDC, $25,000. Hydrant program, $25,000. Total requirements of $243,000.
I have a question on that staff vehicle. Is that gonna make us 5 personal vehicles, or are we gonna trade one in or something?
About 5.
Do you think that's necessary? If 4 vehicles I'd seen would be enough.
Have fire chief, deputy chief, fire marshal, soon to be training and recruitment retention, and the duty officer, 35.
Can you share some of those vehicles though?
No.
Some of them are sitting, like you would be in the office or the training chief would be in the office. Somebody need to use that vehicle. Couldn't you share vehicles like that?
Doesn't work out that well.
Well, it did previous years, so that's what we did. Try and save costs, so that's why. I really have an issue with 5 personal vehicles.
But isn't this vehicle, an SUV fitted with?
This one will be a pickup truck for the fire marshals. Duties, carry, what's needed for, getting out in the field, doing inspection, driveway inspections, fire investigation, materials that go with that.
Which would be different than be a car per se.
All right.
We have 1 SUV.
We don't currently have a vehicle for our fire marshal to utilize solely that has her equipment on it. And she can maintain it. I think it's really important for her to be able to respond, not only to incidents, but inspections with the appropriate equipment at all times.
I just think it's unnecessary to have 5 vehicles because before the fire marshal would share a vehicle and they'd take their briefcase or whatever they needed to do inspection and that worked out just well. I can't believe we have 5 staff cars.
Times have changed.
Well, I know times change, but I still don't, in my mind, can't justify that.
Those are the 90,000, is that just the vehicle or is that including all upfitting?
That'll include canopy and pull out rack.
Radios and stuff.
What about our other vehicles mileage? Are we getting up there?
We have one that's up there, it's high mileage, high hours. And then the other one, I think it's out bad, but it's getting there. I think they're still serviceable.
Right, and when you're ready, we'll move into grant funding. First page of your grant funding is an explanation of the funding. The second page is the allocated funds. So grant funded position under regular personal services, 149,968. Grant funded materials and services, the SAFER grant, 20,200. Grant funded capital outlay items under the WUI grant, $198,404. Total requirements in grants for $368,572. The following page has the breakdown of those numbers. Materials and services. Volunteer training from the SAFER grant, $11,200. Marketing from the SAFER grant, $4,000. American Recovery Plan Act, ARPA, $0. Volunteer firefighter assistance, BFA, $5,000. Making the total requirement for grants and materials and services, $20,200. Grant funded personnel services. Instead of reading everything that has the zeros, I'm going to read to the ones that actually have numbers at them. So FEMA SAFER grant, volunteer recruitment and retention coordinator, $50,000. FEMA SAFER grant, retirement PERS, $25,000. FEMA Safer Grant, low staff funds, $20,000. FEMA Safer Grant volunteers stipend, $19,968. OSFM WUI seasonal firefighter / EMT, $35,000. Total requirements for grant personnel services, $149,968. Capital improvements, grant funds, Wildland Urban Interface Grant, WUI, $198,404. Total requirements for capital purchases, $198,404.
That's our last payment of water.
That's the last final payment on the water tender. And the final amount from the WUI.
So the seasonal firefighter is 35,000.
Right, because
But
we
then we
didn't,
also put it in our regular, but 44.
Yeah, I left it there, otherwise I have to go back and pay the funds. So,
That's just as a place, essentially a place, right?
right, so if we get the grant funding, we would utilize the personal services funding.
if they would have told me a few weeks earlier would have been helpful. Information so late.
That is the end of the proposed budget amounts. If there's anything. Any questions?
Are you taking these binders back
I can, or you can take them with you and read them, and I
Okay.
can update the pages
later? I
later.
think so.
Okay,
I think we all probably should read all the.
I mean, I wrote a lot. Actually, cheated almost.
This book signing will be both.
Yes, we have
It's all-
co-authors.
Okay. Anybody from the budget committee have any questions? Yeah, no. Anybody from the board? Or Chief, Nikki, you got it?
No, I don't think we didn't make any changes. Nothing to do.
Nope.
Everything was the same then, so. From the individual, the one-on-one meetings would be really helpful. I think that goes a long way. Kind of, it definitely shortens this meeting. There's not a lot of uncertainty and I can think about it, but, if we would have made changes, then we would have pointed that out here, but. So. That's it.
All right, well, if, do we think we're gonna need another meeting? Or cancel that second meeting?
I'm thinking about something else.
Pardon me?
I'm thinking about a question.
Oh,
Oh, and you just.
Yeah, so you still have the regular meeting, May board meeting. Come back and ask questions about you. So
we have, we have a proposed second meeting if necessary, May 11th. We don't think we're gonna need that. Pretty happy with what we see. Looking for comments.
At this point, I feel that we're somewhat open, and there's, I'm sure when we walk away from here, we'll probably have some questions. So Nikki, I got a question you may not have the answer to. So last year, we put just rough dollars, 125 in reserve. Is my understanding roughly $500,000 of that was from the reserve that we took to get the restart done. Out of that million roughly left over, there was some funds that were out of the reserve before, so what do we actually contribute to the reserve last year that wasn't allocated from previous reserves? Do you know that number?
Off the top of my head, I don't, but I
Okay.
can tell you.
That's fine. That's the only question I have. When you go from 1.5 million one year going in to 600 the next, it's kind of like.
It wasn't 1.5 million. That's the full amount.
Yes, I know
So,
that. I know that.
We
That's,
came from 474,
okay.
and then as of last year, we were at 1,512,000. So
Okay.
six.
Okay. So that's, there's been just a pit in my gut of the differences, and I did not realize that I thought we exhausted our reserves for the restart, is what I was under the understanding, but that's
If you
fine.
did, you didn't put it on paper for me to find.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's a little clunky from that.
It is. Well, there was some depth in raw economics on one side involved in that thing, so, yeah. That makes me feel a lot better.
In past years, people have been around longer. We allocated, said, okay, we want to put X amount in vehicle fund, X amount in radio fund, X amount in new fire station fund, and actually put that in our budget.
There were, how many different accounts were?
Yeah, they
there?
used to have, they used to have different line items and they were actually accounts,
Yeah.
but we changed that to one reserve account as opposed to separating that out into individual ones. That's an audit thing. That's
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
GSAB,
auditor
right?
was very upset with the
Yeah,
idea of multiple accounts.
yeah.
That's a very big way to set yourself up for internal fraud. So the three actual accounts that we have right now are the maximum number of accounts that an auditor ever wants to see. They'd actually prefer to see two. So we can identify reserve funds, but not actually put them in separate accounts.
And I didn't mean account, I meant
Okay.
fund, you know. It's known. And I
Yeah,
don't know if we've
gets-
done in the past.
But it also gets tricky because if we want to take money from those funds and like share it with the other funds, you can't do that either.
Okay.
So you would have to do a supplemental budget in order to do that. So putting it in one spot means that we can utilize it for all of those capital expenses and not only have this much money to spend here and this much money to spend here.
Isn't there a percentage that you can do without doing a supplemental budget?
10%.
10%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can still move 10% of any fund without doing a supplemental budget, up to 10%.
I think we have to do it by the resolution.
It's a resolution. It is.
After that, we can absolutely still do it, but we all have to get back together here.
Well, and as we get further down the road too, history, having financial history tells a story also. That's one reason why I kind of like that variance report percentages, because we can compare that from year to year to year and.
Right.
That's probably been the hardest part about putting together the budget primarily last year. This year,
Yeah.
not as bad, but there's not a good history there.
Yes.
So there's not like a 5-year look back and go, oh yeah, this is what was here and there.
Yeah. But we can see, as we get further into this, we can see trends as
Right.
to where things are going and,
Right.
This year was definitely better.
yeah.
That's why I like the bar graph. You can just see that slight increase, which is what you should expect for most like personal services or inflation increases. You see that and it stays pretty stagnant throughout the whole, very consistent. Everything's slightly increased.
So,
over
I think
3
between Director McAdoo and myself, I'm sure we can go back many years, find our binders somewhere. I'm sure they're in a box somewhere and get those to you. So maybe that would be some, just previous history. Of course, we do business different than we did before, so.
Yeah, no, that the history helps, but those differences of where, like we had Clackamas running certain programs even before that IGA, obviously there's just money allocated and that's what it was. And we don't really know how they were doing it now, but.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the older history.
I'm not sure, just for her
Could
information,
be, yeah.
just for her to refer to it.
Yeah. How many years? What year did we start buying from Clackamas? probably a dozen years ago.
That was fire marshal services at first, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was in 2013.
yeah, I was gonna say like 13,
About 10 years ago.
I don't know,
yeah.
because I was working.
maybe
finance at
13,
that
maybe
time.
14.
There you go.
I mean, we could see it in our book when, if we,
Yeah.
we find them.
Okay, so are we looking for a motion
So
to,
what we do is we normally referend it to the board of directors with a recommendation of a yay.
Yeah, we don't,
We
we
don't,
only
we don't vote.
adopted that the board.
right,
yeah.
but this is for the budget committee to recommend it to us. Are you guys ready to recommend this budget to the board? We're not looking to approve it tonight, of course, because we still have to go through.
By consensus maybe, or?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think that's what we
Yeah.
would do, is the
Consensus.
consent. Just so it's documented, that the board's not superventing this process. So,
Or if everybody's on board, then we'll just move it to the board meeting.
Yeah.
Is that appropriate?
I think so.
Yeah.
How about a show of hands from the board budget committee is, you want to move this forward? Okay. All right. Move it forward. So at this point, we don't need the May 11th meeting.
No, I don't think so.
If for some reason we need to, then you always can, you know, that's why it's on the calendar.
Yeah, that's right. Keep your suckers in line over there, Jim.
Disrespect. That's what that is.
So you got, how many did you get? 2 and I didn't get any.
I got 3.
3?
Well, you gotta know people.
There's many of them right
Yeah,
behind
so-
the table.
I got offered one. Okay,
I don't even want to take a sucker from our fire district, John.
Wow. See, due diligence.
Yeah.
yeah, I think we can adjourn this meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone for coming.
What do you guys usually run? Like, yeah.